2023. The time is 7 p.m. and we call the meeting to order, and also want to wish everyone happy National Read Across America Day. A special thank you to all our volunteer readers and School District 68. If our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Martinez,
Present.
Trustee Kagan,
Present.
Trustee Abbott,
Present.
Trustee Krusek,
Present.
Trustee Page,
Present.
Mayor Cunningham.
Present.
Quorum established.
Thank you very much. If you would please join us in an extended moment of silence as we dedicate our meeting to the memory and in honor of Public Works professional Matt Hayden and his family, friends, and neighbors, and the community of Westmont and their Public Works family. Our thoughts, prayers, and hearts are with them all. And also in memory and in honor of Chicago Police Officer Andres Vasquez Lasso, to him and his family, friends, and neighbors, to the city of Chicago and the Chicago Police Department family. Our thoughts, prayers, and hearts are with you all. If we could please together keep our police, fire, public works, and emergency first responder family in our thoughts and prayers. Perfect for us to come together and send our heartfelt gratitude and support for our public service and servants, for their dedication and outstanding care every day in the service to our neighbors and our community. Just take a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. If you would now please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance this evening, being led by our community development team and Bill, our neighbor here in Woodridge. I pledge allegiance. This evening, we are honored to have a special recognition, and I'm going to ask our Community Development Building Commissioner, Eric Alwyn, to come to the podium. And Shania, if you would like to come up too. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Honorable Mayor and Board, I would like to introduce Shania Williams. Shania was recently hired as our new permit technician. She's going to be filling a position that is being vacated by Jan Flores, who will be retiring shortly. Shania comes to us from the village of Oak Park, where she's held several positions during her 15+ years. She was an administrative clerk, community relations representative, finance cashier, and administrative assistant of operations, just to name a few. With her extensive municipal experience and training provided by some of our existing staff, Shania has made great progress in learning the village's processes and has hit the ground running. In her short time here, she has already become an important asset of the community development department team. Shania lives in Bolingbrook with her husband and 2 cats. Mayor and Board, that's just a little bit about Shania.
Well, wonderful. Thank you. All of us wish you a warmest welcome, although I've already seen you here working, so busy to say the least. Thank you so much for joining the team here. We're excited. Your vast background and experience has already, I know, been put to good use here. We all welcome you and we wish you the very, very best. And we'll meet you back here in 25 years to celebrate you in 25 years. But welcome from all of us and congratulations to the Village of Woodridge, and thank you for joining our team. Welcome. We're going to now move to comments from the public. So we're going to pause to acknowledge any written public comments that have been received prior to our meeting that do not relate to tonight's agenda. If so, we would then enter those into the public record. Administrator Stonich?
Mayor, we have not received any written comments prior to the
Thank
meeting.
you very much. Going to ask if anyone in our audience would like to come up and speak before the village board. Okay, Thank you. We'll go ahead and move then to comments that are related to our agenda and ask our village administrator if we've received any written public comments that have been received prior to our meeting on items that do appear on tonight's agenda.
No comments, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Going to again offer to our guest that's here this evening with us, anything you would like to come up and address to the village board, items that are on our agenda this evening. If not, we will move ahead. We thank you very much for being here, though. So moving to our omnibus agenda this evening, going to ask for a motion, please, to approve items A and B and acceptance of C and D.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Page. A second.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Martinez. Going to ask if anyone has any item they would like to be separately considered this evening. Administrator Stonich, would you mind reviewing the omnibus for us?
Thank you, Mayor Cunningham, members of the board. Good evening. Item A, Resolution 2023-13, resolution authorizing the village administrator to execute agreements for professional services with Dixon Engineering and Christopher Burke Engineering. This is relating to the Village Greens Water Tower Painting and Improvements Project and Design Engineering. Item B, Ordinance 2023-9 is an ordinance granting approval for a minor amendment for a site plan for installation of 2 chillers on a concrete patio with screening at Personal Creations located at 1301 International Parkway. And finally, items C and D are previous minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going to ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Abbott,
Aye.
trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Under presentation of communications, we do have a few items. The first item, I'm going to ask also if Chief Cunningham has any comments he would like to make, and that was regarding the ruse burglary prevention tips. Chief, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, we're thankful for all the information that came out in public and Facebook and our social media, and actually had a resident that actually recognized something that happened. And that's what we ask for people. If you see anything suspicious, this person came and knocked on the door. It didn't seem right to them. And they actually called us and we actually went out there. We're investigating it now. So asking the public just to be vigilant of that. So.
Thank you very much. I know it's been on the news pretty frequent as of recent. So it's where someone may appear knocking at your door and look like maybe they're officially representing the village or one of the utilities.
Right. A lot of the incidents that happen and said there's something wrong with the water. We need to come inside the house. And then they'll distract the homeowner and other people will come in and actually do a burglary. So we've been actually telling the public that this is something they should watch for. And luckily one of our residents actually saw something. So
Actually
prevented
it from happening. They called 911 and immediately it was taken care
exactly
of.
what we needed to happen. So.
Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you for sharing all of that, Chief. It's wonderful to hear when information that we share as a village resonates and someone recognizes something's not right and calls the police and then is able to prevent something from happening. So wonderful. Thank you very much. I don't know if this is in advance of tomorrow, but upcoming severe weather preparedness program. And March is Severe Weather Preparedness Month in Illinois. And as the calendar is flipped from winter into spring, it's important to be aware of severe weather threats that exist in our state. And you can join information, and I'm going to refer everyone to our village website for further information. There's quite a bit there, but some of the topics that they include would be the National Weather Service, severe weather definitions, and then of course in our own experience with Naperville and Woodridge and other surrounding communities, the tornado that impacted us on June 20th, 2021. The speaker is Brett Borchard. He's a meteorologist with the National Weather Service and his office is in Romeoville. And he discusses severe weather preparedness. And anyway, the information is available. It is pertinent. And I know you can be part of a virtual program that our library is hosting on March 22nd. From 7 until 8 p.m. You can check all the information right out on the Village of Woodridge Public Library website. That is a Zoom meeting. I think it'll be very, very helpful and informative. The Woodridge VFW scholarship opportunities are here. This is from our Woodridge Memorial VFW Post 1578. And they have their annual Jim Stewart VFW Memorial Scholarship with the intention of assisting one or more high school students in their pursuit of continuing their education. More information can be found right on their website, www.woodridgevfw.net. Last, Cypress Cove Family Aquatic Park Job Fair. Says get hired right on the spot. The Woodridge Park District is needing help, and they are going to be hosting a March 18th job fair from 10 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. It's going to be at the ARC at 8201 South Janes Avenue. More information can be found on the Woodridge Park District website. Thank you very much. That is my report. Administrator Stonich, your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. First item A is the fiscal year 2022 fourth quarter financial report. And Acting Director Darren Clary will have a presentation for you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees. Let me load the PowerPoint here real quick. So in front of you, you should have both of the fourth quarter report and the PowerPoint presentation this evening. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. It's not showing it there. Okay. Oh, it was. Oh, gotcha. Okay, fair enough. Okay, thank you. So I'm presenting the fourth quarter financials for the village. This is kind of a precursor to the audit that will be presented here in a few months when we finalize our annual audit. These are year-to-date numbers, not just the fourth quarter. So these kind of give us an inside look at where we're at for the year of 2022. Even though the numbers may change some from audit entries and things that staff and auditors will do and adjustments over the next couple months, there's some overarching themes that will not change in terms of revenues and expenditures for the village. So some of the big themes is general fund revenues have increased over expectations, largely due to sales and income taxes, due to inflationary levels. Of course, there's two sides to that coin because there's also the cost side of it. But as far as revenues are concerned, they were significantly higher for income and sales taxes in the whole fiscal year. Expenditures did decrease from a number standpoint from 2021 due to tornado cleanup costs that we had that year. We are recognizing ARPA funds, half of our ARPA funds in 2022, another half in 2023. So we will see that in the revenue section for the general fund. And the facilities project, as you are well aware, is underway and going strong and in a big expense for the village in 2022 and 2023. So we'll start with the general fund. We're going to do our major funds first and some of our smaller funds afterwards. So we started with the balance of 20.8 million in the beginning of fiscal year 22. Currently, we received $27.5 million in revenues and only 22.9 in expenses. That's $5.7 million surplus in and of itself, putting us a year-on fund balance at 25.4 million. But please keep in mind that this $4.6 million that we have of expenses, revenues less expenses, is we have $3.8 million. We still have to transfer over from the general fund to the water VERP fund for the water meter replacement program. And we still have $1 million that we're transferring over to the water fund for water mains. On the expense side, we're about 1.6% below budget and 1% below 2021 numbers. Even though our expenses have impacted by rising inflation, they still remain under budget by $366,000. Some of our overperformers, again mentioned, is sales tax and income tax. You have utility taxes that are above budget as well, but really the story here is sales and income taxes, sales taxes due to inflationary costs, and then income tax related to record high employment rates and increased wages that have increased the taxes from that revenue source. Sales taxes came in 1.4 million over budget, 1.5 million over last year's numbers. Income taxes about $1 million over both budget and 2021 numbers. And then again, utility taxes slightly above by about $180,000. So underperformers compared to 2021, really as far as revenues in the general fund are concerned, real estate transfer taxes were the only ones that came under 2021. They're still $40,000 over budget, but in 2021, in March of 2021, we had a $200,000 transfer stamp for Windsor Lakes that is inflating that number comparatively. So we're still trending consistently other than that one-off, and again $40,000 above budget for transfer tax. On the expenditure side of the general fund, we have savings in personnel for the year, about $150,000. Cost savings from vacant positions due to an increasingly challenging labor market on the employer side. Services are around $500,000 lower than budget in 2021. Again, most notably for the 2021 expenses related to the tornado cleanup. Commodities transfers increase is pretty flat as it should be from budget, and commodities has increased. You can see there on the right-hand side due to salt purchases that were in the general fund and not in the motor fuel tax fund. And then capital was about $70,000 under budget for 2022. This is a variety of items that were either came in lower than cost or were not done in terms of we had employee loans and fitness loans and computer loans that were budgeted there, not fully utilized, some certain hardware and software upgrades that was not spent to the budgetary level. For water and sewer fund, excuse me. We started the year at $8.9 million. And we ended the year just above that, $8,970,000. Our water usage for 2022, we have been declining on the large part pre-pandemic. Pandemic hit, everyone's home, everyone's using water. So we saw an increased usage in 2020, 2021, and 2022, we're back down to pre-pandemic levels, closer to 2019 level. So we do have the decreased usage from user fees that you'll see in a moment, but we also have the implementation of the capital improvement fee increases, which have going to our infrastructure and replacing our aging infrastructure in the village. That is help compensating. That's why you're seeing this $10.7 million in revenue, a little bit higher than budget and right last year. On the expense side for the year at $10.6 million, much lower than budget, which is related to unspent capital funds. Also the 75th Water Main Street project is a part of that, and some other projects that have been not paid in 2022 but funded in 2023, or actually slated to be spent in 2023. If you compare it to actual expenditures, though, we are $2.1 million more than 2021. And then the preliminary ending fund balance is just basically where we started in 2022, a little over almost $9 million. As far as our revenues go, water sales are about $7 million, and sewer fees at $676,000. These are one of our primary revenue sources of the water fund, both 3.5% to 4% over budget and 2% under where they were at the end of 2021. And keep in mind, user fees are the main revenue source for the water fund, and usage is continuing to go down over time. And but the capital improvement fee is increasing based on our need for infrastructure improvements. On the expense side, personnel, transfers, and commodities, we're very close to budget. Services are about 7% or $65,000 over budget in 22. And for capital, we spent about 2.3 of our 6.5, a little over 2.3 of our $6.5 million that we budgeted in projects. Again, the water main project, skate upgrades and other amending wall station, to name a few that are pushed to 2023. For our capital projects fund, this is our non-water capital. We project to be over $20,000. It is mainly in this fund, excuse me. Started the year with the balance of $14.5 million. Sales taxes, home rule sales taxes specifically is the primary revenue source. The capital projects fund, we budgeted $2.1 million to receive in home rule sales tax. We received $2.6 million in 22. Income taxes, we budgeted about $440,000 and we received about $560,000. As you can see, we're well above budget there on both aspects. Again, resulting of high labor force, higher wages, and also reflecting of increased costs on the inflationary side for sales taxes. Also included in this number is a $500,000 transfer from the federal drug fund to the capital projects fund to help fund the police facilities project. Expenditures are at $13.1 million, considerably lower than budget, largely due to the facilities project where we have only spent 10.4 of the $24 million budgeted at the time we did the 2022 budget. Ending fund balance is $6.9 million. I have a summary here of our other funds, which we tend to show all in one table here. A couple items of note. If you look at that second row, state and federal drug funds, look at the far right, that $511,000 is our actual expenses for 2022. Again, that $500,000 came out for the police facilities project. Vehicle and equipment replacement funds, you kind of see a tale of two worlds here in terms of some equipment and vehicles not being able to be purchased due to supply chain issues. You also will see here that there's increased costs related to that as well, and for supply, not just equipment and vehicles and supplies and things like that. So you kind of see both things going on here. And then the last row, if you look at the police pension fund, we have about 10.2 million in budgeted revenues, about 5.6 in actual revenues. The decline is similar to that of the market and investments, and similar to that of the state pension, both for the police and fire. The cash and investment side, here's our portfolio. We have $70.9 million currently in cash and investments. This is about $15 to $20 million more than we typically do. In the IMET piece of the pie in the lower left, you'll see 19.1 million. That's where we have our bond proceeds sitting at whenever we have large expenses or expenses for our facilities project. This is where we pull the funds from. So you'll see this piece of pie shrink over time as we spend more on the facilities project. But we do have 90% of our cash and investments in the investment side of it, liquid, low risk investments, and another 10% sitting in cash and equivalent. And of course, we do our diversify our portfolio according to our investment policy and according to state statute. And here's a look at how we kind of ladder our investments. On the left-hand side on the graph, you'll see a lot of our investments are maturing over the next year or two. Like about 78% of it, 68% of it. And so typically we would see it a little bit farther out. The interest rate market is where investors have less faith in the future and more faith in the recent future. So you'll see a lot higher interest rates sooner than later. So you'll see a little more investments capturing that interest rate market here. In the very top right, you'll see our total portfolio kind of average rate of return is 1.7%. Please don't confuse it with right below it, the market indicators. Those are current rates, the treasury rates and the Illinois funds rate are current rates. Our investment rate of return is a culmination of investments that we've done today at a high rate and yesterday at a low rate. So it's kind of a culmination of those. But sometimes if you look back at last year's, I think the market indicators were like 0.5, 1%. So again, in summary for the year, again, the numbers will change a little bit as we go through audit, but the story is more or less the same. We had an increase in sales and income taxes. We had high levels of, inflation that have led to both cost increases, but also revenue increases. We had the police facilities project that's going on. We're gonna, not in terms of 2022, but we're gonna go out and issue bonds again in 2023 for the facilities project. We have a number of projects we've been working on and doing in both in 22 and 23. We have water main replacement program. We're gonna do the audit entry for that in 22, and we're going to have the actual meter replacement program in 23, as long as debt issuance and the finalization of the facilities project. So a lot to look forward to, but also lots that we've accomplished as well. So that is kind of the preliminary 22 numbers for the year. Is there any other questions the board has this evening that I can field?
First of all, thank you very much, Acting Director Clary, for the presentation. And I would like to ask fellow board members if there's any questions at this time that anyone may have. All right, well, thank you very much for hearing anyone. Thank you.
Next, item B is resolution 2023-14. It's a resolution to approve amendments to the shopping center facade and site grant program. And Director Clark is available to answer any questions, should the board have any.
Good evening. I guess I didn't know if you have any questions of the memo, the feedback with both grants, starting with the facade and site grant. There was basically what I was hearing, there was not support for the fire suppression and security systems as it was going beyond the intent of the program. And there was a desire to keep that more focused on the aesthetics and the exterior. So that is not being included in the proposed ordinance, but we did include some other language that the board indicated they'd like to have in there, and that is the clawback language of if a property is sold within 5 years, receiving a grant, then they'd have to make some payment back. Also, that if they were to maximize the grant, there's a grace period included now of 3 years. And again, the board still has discretion on all of this, but there was this language we thought would be appropriate to add. In addition, just strengthening the language to prioritize new grant applicants over sites that already received a grant, even if they didn't receive the maximum amount. We expanded the patio language and it wasn't very clear, so I thought it'd be helpful to expand what the purpose was, and that was for outdoor dining, really the intent of that patio language, and then listing what would be eligible. And then additionally, adding language, placing a priority on grants that are taking a comprehensive approach. There was some concerns that maybe providing dollars towards just a parking lot when maybe there'd be a desire for more things to be included in the grant. So now it wouldn't stop someone if they came and that's all they wanted to do, but we put language in there just prioritizing that we want to look at them more holistically. And the budget is for fiscal 23 is 100,000. And we have the ordinance in front of you for potentially adoption tonight.
Thank you very much. Any questions that anyone may have at this time? Okay. Thank you very much. So we have before us resolution 2023-14. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve that resolution.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Krusek, and a second, please. Thank you, trustee Kagan. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, if our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Kagan.
Aye.
Trustee Abbott.
Aye.
Trustee Krusek.
Aye.
Trustee Page.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Final item this evening is item C, resolution 2023-15. This is regarding the new small business grant program and amendments related thereto, and Director Clark will take us through those as well.
Thank you. So this program has been in place for a while, and there's a budget of 25,000 for this fiscal year. And at the 2 study sessions, the feedback to look at the grant program to include new eligible costs, that being fire suppression system and security system. Based on the feedback, there was a desire to have fire fire suppression systems included as an eligible cost. Again, as long as there were other qualifying improvements with the requests. So that's been added in. In addition, mimicking the center grant, we've added that there'd be a grace period of 3 years if a small business wanted to reapply for the grant. And then also, I think that was it. Yes, I think that was it. That was added to that. And the priority of the grants as well. So the same language, if a small business received a grant in the past, we'd look at other applications and prioritizing those. And then again, the comprehensive approach to the grant as well is just adding that language in there.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from fellow board members at this time? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much, Director Clark. We have before us Resolution 2023-15, going to ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Page. Thank you, Trustee Kagan. On the second, any further discussion on the item? Oh, was it? So if there's no further discussion, I'm going to ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Abbott,
Aye.
trustee Krusek. Aye. Trustee Page.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Kagan.
Aye.
Motion passes.
With no further business to come before the board, we do have the need to convene to executive session following tonight's adjournment of the regular board meeting. The purpose of this executive session is to review and discuss the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body. Going to ask please for a motion to adjourn the regular meeting of the village board and convene into executive session. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. It is 7:33 PM. Everyone, please take good care, stay safe, and we thank you very